Hi, my friends. I thought I'd do something kind of interesting going forward. It'd be kind of cool. So I hope it does. I'm going to call it True Tales Tuesday, TTT, True Tales Tuesdays, because there's things that have had happen to me over the course of all my life, and looking back, and it gets even weirder when I became fully spiritually awake. All this craziness, but then it really got deeper when I started having spiritual experiences and stuff like this. But so I'm going to try to do once a week. I'm going to try to tell you a true story. I got everything from me investigating the Stanley Hotel to I had a car like Christine that was haunted. Kid you not. These are all true things. Remember, I'm not allowed to lie. And these are not, I didn't make these stories up. This is real things that happened to me. This is like Philip Clark. He said he just documented, he said he really wasn't a sci-fi writer, that he was just documenting true things that were probably going to come true or that probably had happened. Seriously, I'm just, oh my goodness. So think about that from him. So anyway, yes, investigated Stanley Hotel, Deadwood, South Dakota, where I know for a fact that animals can go to heaven. Long story behind that, and just different things, exposures, spiritual things, of that, just amazing stories. I mean, I could write encyclopedias of things that happened. But see, I didn't do this. This is the other side. So thank you, the Father, Lord, angels, the ones above, all of them. I mean, this has been an adventure and a journey. I mean, these stories are just so unreal. Just amazing stories that they're not really stories, they're true facts and true. One guy says you shouldn't call them stories, they're called legendary writings or something like this. Well, anyway, so I'm going to go on about this one real quick. So this will be the first true True Tale Tuesday story. Okay, this one is not one of the best ones, but I thought it'd be kind of cool just because I was thinking about tonight. Okay, well, let me think about this. Which one should I choose? Jeez. Oh, yes. I actually, yeah. Since I got a Nightmare on Elm Street, that's one I'm going to talk about. This one is amazing, true story. Now, I was grew up in, like you said, Montrose, in a house out in the country, and this is all important because you got to understand the setting of this place. I grew up in a small town, small town out in the country of Montrose, and so I didn't have a lot of friends over, didn't have a lot of people because there wasn't a lot of local neighbors around there, and so the people in and out of our house is very rare. All I had was my grandmother who'd come up sometimes on the weekend on a Saturday, and then also, my brothers didn't have any friends over as well because you had to drive. They didn't want to, I was too young at this time when this takes place. I'll explain that in a minute. That nobody wanted to drive out there, and even parents didn't want to drive their friends out. They used to complain, "Hey, we got to drive out to Kirk's house," right? Parents hated that. So my parents ended up being the taxi cab drivers a lot of times to go pick up kids and bring them out to our country and out back because it was about I think it was about 8 miles, 10 miles out of town, 10 miles, and so people just didn't want to take the time. Anyway. So, okay, so this is a true story. Now, this is about a Nightmare on Elm Street, which also had a Mandela effect around. I don't think it's tied to me. It's just something that happened that just blows my mind, okay? Back in, it actually happened the same year that this thing was released, 1984. Okay, in 1984, on a day, now I belonged to Honors English when I was in junior high, because that was when I was in junior high. And I belonged to Honors English. And so we had to write a story once a week as mandatory. They would write some kind of story, just whatever, just sci-fi, just something, right? So I got really busy the weekend before and stuff, and I was busy that whole week, so I didn't have a story. And these are due on Friday, right? And I remember the teacher. She's like, I was like really worried about it. Well, anyway, so it was about, I think it was a Thursday afternoon. This is amazing. It was a Thursday afternoon. I was in my room and I was going through some just boxes and just rearranging my room. And there was this 5-page paper laying there. It's 5 pages, right? And you're not going to believe this. I picked this 5 pages of paper up and I start reading this story that was written. It just blows my mind, the story. Guess what the story was? It was exactly a Nightmare on Elm Street. It talked about a guy who had claws, and if you fell asleep, he would kill you or you'd die. And it went on, just exactly. It was just written in 5 pages. It talked about, don't go to sleep and try to stay awake. And they had actually even the gloves and the claws. I'm not kidding you. I was like, what? And the Nightmare on Elm Street had not been released at this time because this was in this same year, 1984. It says was when it was released, but that was in the it was in the springtime when this when I was had this piece of paper in my hand, and it was written all in cursive handwriting, right? It wasn't typed, cursive handwriting, 5 pages, right? And so I'm like, well, geez, man. I said, this is a cool story. I said, it's scary, but this is a neat story, man. Right? So, like I said, I didn't have time, and I never ever, what do you call it, stole other people's writings or stuff, right? And my brother was at home. I thought my brother Todd, he was 3 years older than me. I thought, well, maybe he had written the thing, but I didn't recognize the handwriting. It was very I keep hearing something. Anyway, it was like a doldish hand, a very clean cut, and so anyway. So what I did was I took the piece of paper and I copied it, and I kind of just copied it over to my own notebook, right? And I handed it in the next day. Yeah, plagiarism, big time. But anyway, so I went ahead and plagiarized the same because I ran out of time. I thought it was a great story anyway, so I didn't want to have to come up with my own, right? So I handed it in and got to shoot like an A+ on the dang thing. But anyway, so and then this movie. Okay, so let me tell you this. So I was talking to my mother back then, and I actually told her that I was going to use it, and she was okay with it. I mean, she wasn't into cheating or plagiarism, but she said, "Yeah, that's fine. Just go ahead and just, I hope you changed a little bit of it." I said, "Yeah, I did." And I said, what? And I was telling him at the end because my brother wasn't home. I think he was hanging out with Mark Sharman, one of his friends in downtown. And I said, well, I said, did Todd write this? I said, this story is amazing. I said, it's so different. It's kind of a horror. And she goes, no, Todd didn't write that. She said, that's not his handwriting. And she said, he wouldn't have wrote that, Kirk. And yeah, I don't know any class he would have written this for, right? Because he was in like an English, honors English class, thing like that. But I mean, he could have been somebody that wasn't him. My older brother, he was not even, he wasn't even around, I think. Let's see. My older brother, Phil, he didn't write it either. And I can't remember where Phil was, but he wasn't even home during that time. I don't know. But anyway, but she validated that none of my two brothers had written this thing. And like I said, we had no friends over. Nobody could have dropped it off. You know what I mean? And even the coincidence of this being written before the Nightmare on Elm Street, so whoever dropped it off would have had A, deliver it to the house, and then B, left it there, right? You know what I mean? Crazy. And like I said, my mother's not into, my dad, you kidding me? And nobody comes and goes in the house. So anyway, so I'm heading some more with this. So, but the story, like I said, with the gloves, that had to fall asleep, and you want to make sure you stay awake, and oh my gosh. And I'm trying to remember the ending because it's been so long ago that the ending was almost exactly the same. It just kind of like, it ends like, I think it was in third person there, the person, or talking about something, they fall asleep, right? And then and it says some of the claws come out. Why? Well, there's more I was going to say about this. There's not a whole lot I can say, but you got to be kidding me. How did, this must have been a manifestation by the other side, manifested that thing and shoved it into that house at that time, even before that all this occurred. And so, like I said, and then all of a sudden that movie came on later, The Nightmare on Elm Street, and I watched it with some friends because they had the VHS tapes then until that came out. So it was like probably not till Jan Funk because we didn't go to the movie theater for that one. I didn't. And we watched it in VHS, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is the same dang story. Are you kidding me? I'm like, I didn't tell my friends then. I'm like, they would have thought I was crazy anyway. But it would have had proof because I had the teacher, and I can't remember her name. She would have said, yeah, this story is exactly the same. He handed that sucker in. And I wish I still had that piece of paper. But over the years, are you kidding me? Moving, this and that. My mother's house, she's moved to Denver versus that house. And man, I asked her, we talked about this several times the past year. I said, do you remember that? She goes, yes, I remember the story and all this. And I said, do you know where that paperwork's at? And she says, no, it's probably long gone through all the moves and all the stuff that's happened over the years. and you know, me even cleaning my room and going to call and all this other stuff, right? But I'm just blown away. You kidding me? And the handwriting, like I said, I can almost picture it still to this day, that it was not even my handwriting, because even my older age handwriting, it was very clean and just different, right? Very well cursive. I mean, it's just like, wow. And the word choices were just amazing when I was reading it through it. So I know you're like, well, okay, that's enough, Kirk, we got it. So anyway, that is amazing. So A Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, I had a nightmare on as Colina Drive, where I lived out in the country. A nightmare on Colina Drive in Montrose. The nightmare was the story and what has happened and what is going on here, right? That is, but it's not really a nightmare. It's kind of a cool blessing, kind of something kind of cool, right? All right, take care and God bless.